Hello everyone and welcome. This is Dawn. I hope everyone's having a great day. Today I'll be making another card in my Valentine series. I thought a bouquet of hearts would look nice on a card. It's pretty simple to make. I'm using the Whimsy Stamps Boho circles because my regular circles were MIA, but it's okay. Any circles will work. I'll also be using the Lattice A2 die, the Wild Weed die, the Slimline Heartbeats die, and the Vintage Script background stamp. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is die cut a circle with the Boho die set from a piece of craft cardstock. I'm using the second to the largest circle, which is about 4.5 inches in diameter. And then I'm going to use my Misty stamping tool to stamp the background stamp. I'm taking the foam insert out since the red rubber stamp is so thick. And then I put some removable tape down to hold your circle in place. I already have some that's still sticky, so I'm just going to lay my circle on it. I'm using the Vintage Script rubber stamp. I'm just going to put it over my circle. I made sure that my words were facing the right way, but then I realized it really didn't matter because it's a circle, so if you did stamp the words upside down, you could just turn the circle right side up. Then I cover my stamp with some Whisper color ink. It's a little darker than the color of the cardstock, so if you wanted it to be darker, you could stamp it a few times. It does lighten when it dries. Then I'm going to cut off about 1 3/4 inches of the circle. This is where you need to make sure your words are facing the right way because you need to cut off the top of the circle, not the bottom of the circle. The bottom is where the point of the cone is going to be. Next, using my score buddy, I'm going to score 2 lines to make the cone shape. I'm going to make sure the point of the corner of the circle is lined up with the 5/8 mark and that it's pushed up against the left side, and then I'm going to score it at 1 1/4 inches. Then I'm going to flip it around, and at the bottom of the circle, I'm going to take the score line that I just made, and I'm going to line it up with the 1 1/8 mark, and then I'm going to score it at that 1 1/8 mark also. I'm just going to burnish the score lines, and once you fold the flaps over, it's going to seem a little bulky at the bottom where the tip of the cone is. So to fix it, I just cut a little bit off on each side near the bottom of the cone, and then it folds perfectly. Then because I used my boho circles, the flaps at the top were a little bit uneven, so I'm just trimming it a little bit off, but you won't have that problem if you just use regular circles. Next, I glue the 2 flaps closed, and don't do what I did and put the glue too high up where the flaps don't meet. It wasn't a big deal. I just wiped off some of the glue, and then I just hold it closed so it dries really good. Now I'm going to get all the pieces I'll need for my card. I have an A2 size white card base, and then I'm going to die cut the Lattice A2 die from some white cardstock also. And I'm using the 2 small hearts from the Slimline Heartbeats die set, and then I die cut some hearts from 3 different colored cardstock. I did 2 slightly different reds and a pink. I'm using the Wild Weed die. This die is actually turning out to be one of my favorite because you can just use it for so many different looks on a card. And I'm just going to die cut a bunch of them from some green cardstock so I can double them up because they are a little bit on the fragile side. I did about 8 each except for the smaller ones. I only did 2 of them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere 2 of them together to add strength to them. I'm not going to show me doing this to all of them because it's all the same thing. I doubled up all of them except for the 2 small ones. I adhere the white lattice die cut onto the front of the card base. And then I cut a piece of 1/4 inch thick red ribbon to tie around the cone. I put some glue on the back of the cone, and then I lay the red ribbon on the top of it, and I hold it in place to make sure that it doesn't move around at all. This will help it so that it doesn't fall off of the cone. I use my reverse tweezers to hold it in place so it doesn't come undone, and then I tie a knot, and then I tie a bow, and then I'm just going to take a little bit of glue and put it in some spots to kind of hold it in place. I snip off the excess of the bow that I don't need, but you can leave the ribbon ends as long as you like. I just wanted mine to be on the shorter side. I adhere the cone to the front of the card, and I just kind of hold it in place for a few seconds just to make sure it adheres really well. Next, I adhere all the green wild leaves into the cone where I want them to go, and I just keep adding them and moving them around, and you could put as many or as little as you want. It really doesn't matter, and you can trim the ends of the leaves if you need to get them to fit inside the cone. I put foam tape on the back of the hearts to give them dimension, and then I put glue on the back of the foam tape, and then I just adhere them all to the green wild leaves. Then to finish off the card, I'm using the Everyday Scripted Sentiments, and I'm going to heat emboss You're So Loved onto some black cardstock. The first thing that I'm going to do is rub my paper with my embossing powder bag, and then using Versamark ink, I'm going to stamp my sentiment. I pour gold embossing powder on it, and when my heat tool is good and hot, I heat emboss the sentiment. I cut the sentiment down to size, and I put foam tape on the right side of the sentiment only. You don't need the foam tape where the sentiment sits on the cone, and I adhere it to the card. And that's it. That's going to complete my card for today. This card was pretty quick and easy to make, and I think it turned out cute. I want to thank you for joining me on the Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel. I would love for you to leave a comment below and let me know what you think of the card. Be sure to subscribe to the Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel and their other social media platforms so you don't miss out on any upcoming releases and great inspirational videos. Also, check out their website for all their new releases. And as always, thanks for stopping by and have yourself a wonderful day.